If this is the case, then Toei might be a little bit salty with us. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now today's discussion is a little bit on the outlandish side. We are going to be discussing the possibility that the Omni King might represent the Dragonball fandom in the eyes of Toei, Toriyama and Toyotaro. What, Masako? Are you telling me that the makers of our favourite show liken us to a child that has an unpredictable personality? Well, it may not be the case. This is just a theory based on what I've seen and what I've gathered. But if it's true, then Toei, come on. This is really generalising. Before we go into the idea specifically, let's get a read on the Omni King himself. What is he exactly? Well, his name is pretty specific, very self-explanatory. He is the King of Everything. His name in the Japanese dub is Zeno, which translates into English as all. The Japanese kanji for the character all is all over his clothing, one of them's upside down, and his house, which is on top of a huge jellyfish, is in the shape of the kanji character too. But speaking about that jellyfish, what's that all about? Well, I believe that there is a reason for this said marine animal. It might not be the actual reason, but this is my best guess. There is a type of jellyfish named Turritopsis dohrnii, which is biologically immortal. So if this animal was left untouched and safe from predators, then it could, in theory, live forever. So the idea of everything riding atop an everlasting jellyfish is really out there. But when you think about it, it totally makes sense because hey, it's Toriyama, he's crazy like that. The Omni King himself is depicted as a child and he is believed to have been around since the very beginning of creation. It is believed that he shaped the 18 universes that were present in the original Dragon world. One day though, the Omni King destroyed 6 of those universes simply on a whim, or at least as far as we know. It is my belief that these 6 universes will be brought back into the story somehow. Say, one of the universes wishes for all the universes that Zeno destroyed to be brought back, and therefore there's a big bad in there that everyone else has to fight to stop. It could lead to a potential future arc, or a continuation of the universe survival arc post the tournament. But going back to the Omni King, from what we've seen, he is very irrational and very unpredictable, despite having the appearance of a kid. Or maybe because he has the appearance of a kid. If something is amiss and not to his liking, it's gone. What was bothering him one second won't be bothering him the following second. But if he is happy with something, then he is absolutely over the moon. Or jellyfish in this case. So let's get back to the theory that I touched on earlier. I have been watching Super rather closely ever since the Omni King was first introduced at the end of the Universe 6 arc. I was both bemused and amused by the Omni King's diminutive stature. The guy right at the top is a small child, not some big powerful being who looks intimidating AF. But no, something completely different. We've been getting these illusions of the Supreme Kai, the God of Destruction, Whis and the Angels. They're getting increasingly taller and more intimidating. Then Zeno comes along and throws that entire concept on its head. Tiny, adorable and unassuming in comparison to tall, intimidating, ever-present deities. It was a masterstroke. I love the little guy. But it got me thinking though. Having this guy at the top is pretty precarious for the Dragon world. If the slightest provocation were to set him off, then the entirety of creation would be at risk. This got me really concerned when I first found this out, and it all reached a crescendo at the end of the Future Trunks arc. Having him wipe out an entire reality faster than blinking and then just potentially hovering there doing nothing for the rest of time, or not time because that didn't exist because he destroyed it. That was kind of weird. Not to mention disappointing. All that build up from a really good arc and it just goes nowhere. Just Zeno's blank expression just hovering around in not space. He didn't like what he saw, so he saw fit to get rid of it. Mind you, I didn't like Zamasu's big ugly mug, so I don't blame him for that. This is where this theory was conceived. Could Zeno's behavior and appearance reflect the Dragon Ball fandom, at least in the eyes of the creators? Does Toei and Toriyama view us as a bunch of whiny brats that will destroy anything that is not to our liking? Well, I can understand from a personal level that some fans can be quite irrational. Not you guys though. You guys out there, yeah you? Now don't worry, you're alright, I'm not calling you out. So might the creators be just voicing their frustration? I think it might be at least an idea. The Omni King is incredibly excited and passionate about watching people fight, which is one of the biggest assets about Dragon Ball, not only in Japan, but across the entire world. Seeing high-octane battles and powerful blows being exchanged, whether it's punches or energy blast, mesmerized the two Zenos. They've never seen anything like it before the Universe 6 arc. And the exhibition match? Oh boy, wow, that was great. In fact, that's why the very idea of the Tournament of Power was entertained by them. Get 80 of the strongest fighters in all of the universes and get them to duke it out in one arena for 3/4 of an hour straight. To the Omni Kings, this would have been the most exciting thing that they'd ever seen since the dawn of time, which they created. Now, we know all too well as Western fans that one of the biggest things that was sold to us as Dragon Ball fans from the marketing departments of Funimation and the like were the fights. All those commercials contained fights, loud music, mostly guitar music, and people screaming. It was all pure carnage and rage, and it just appealed to us in our most base form. It's what got most of us into the show. Perhaps that is reflected in the Omni King, because he's just as excited as we were, and probably still are. Another factor that supports my supposition is that the Omni King is unusually friendly towards Goku, even though he really shouldn't be. He's a mere mortal, not a Supreme Kai or a god of destruction. Hey, he's not even like a Quadrant Kai, like the North Kai or South Kai or East Kai or whatever. In normal circumstances, the King of Everything wouldn't have batted an eyelid towards Goku, but here, he's not only on first name terms, he's not only actually speaking to him and with respect, he's also considering Goku as his best friend. Goku's even referring to him with a nickname, Zen-chan or Zenny that will be in the dub, and the Omni King doesn't care. He's completely cool with it. The connection that these two share resembles the relationship that we have with Goku, at least on a collective level. There are people out there that don't like Goku, but the majority of the fans do. Well, they do at the moment. Things could change given what we've seen in the latest episodes. Goku is Dragon Ball, and these two share a connection that we fans feel like we're a part of. Now, if you were to remove the whole irrational behavior and desire for destruction from the Omni King, then you might consider this symbolism and association rather sweet. But alas, no, that's not the case. Zeno is often described as unpredictable, a maverick. For the writers of the series, they've created a character that exists off knee-jerk reactions. If said character is bored or wants something right now, they get vocal about it, and they either persist or go to war. In the comments. In Zeno's case, destroying either a planetary system or a simple planet or an entire universe. Fans get pretty vocal when something's not to their liking, but this isn't just about Dragon Ball, this exists in every single fandom ever. But that small contingent is what makes up Zeno, at least in the eyes of the creators. This in turn puts stress on the creators to create something that will appease everybody, which is close to impossible. You can't please everybody. Perhaps the Grand Priest represents Toei, them trying to appease the Omni King by creating the Universe Survival Arc and the tournament just to keep them happy. Well, I can assure you, Mr. Grand Priest, that this idea is totally working. This latest arc is really beginning to rekindle the desire and passion for Dragon Ball Super, and by the time we get to the section in the dub, I think it will be at maximum potential. Another idea that backs my thinking is that at the end of it all, there is somebody higher than the Omni King. More powerful, somebody who watches over everything that happens in the Dragon world. That is, the Toribot. I touched on this character in a previous video, but what it is essentially is Toriyama's avatar in the story, as well as pretty much everything because he's not really keen with having his picture taken, so this avatar is used instead. In Daisenshu 7 there is a short bio which is dedicated to Toribot, which reads thusly. The ultimate ruler of the DB world and a far, far greater person than even Kaioshin, the Supreme Kai. His likes include cars, bikes, plastic models, movies, dogs, and women. His dislikes including having his ideas rejected by his editor, rats, and his job. For over 10 years, he bravely battled against having his editor reject his ideas. You should be intensely grateful. Now you might be thinking that this is just simply a joke bio, a gag, something that you really couldn't seriously use in a Dragon Ball discussion. However, I disagree. In essence, he is the ultimate ruler of the Dragon world. He is the original creator. If he likes something or doesn't like something, or he really hates something or wants to change something, then he can do it. That's what he did in 1995. He stopped the manga because he was tired of it. He is the author and therefore has complete control of his product. No Omni King can outclass him. If the Omni King steps out of line too much or does something not to Toribot's liking, then said robot can come down from upon high and wreak havoc, or just simply end everything. Toribot is calling the shots. If he deems it right to stop Super or pull out of the project altogether, then it will have extreme consequences for the show, and I don't think it could recover. So there we go. It's my belief that the Omni King was inspired in part or entirely by the Dragon Ball fanbase, at least in the eyes of Toei, Toriyama, and maybe Toyotaro too. The fans are the king of everything. If something doesn't please them, then they can choose to not buy the merchandise, to not watch the show, just to simply ignore it and let it just fade away. They have the power, but fortunately, Toribot has even more power. If he is displeased, then he can just stop doing it entirely. And look what could happen. We saw what happened with GT, we saw what happened with Dragon Ball Evolution. Without the influence of Toriyama in some shape or form, then a Dragon Ball project is not likely to do well. Forgive me if you don't like this idea or if you think it's pretty far-fetched, but I just thought the whole idea of having Toribot there and the Omni King, that connection, is just really fascinating to explore. It was just a flight of fancy. So, take it as you will. Is Toei subtly hinting that we, the fans, are a bunch of irate children? I'll let you be the judge of that. So what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with my theory, or do you think it's utter garbage? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!